Magandang hapon to all our viewers. My name is Joshing Bersales, and I'm the children's book editor of Hiyas Books. I will be your host for today. On behalf of OMF Literature and Hiyas, welcome to our free webinar on understanding and handling children's fears. This webinar is brought to you by OMF Literature, a leading evangelical publisher and distributor of Christian books in the Philippines, specializing in books of inspiration, biblical instruction, and practical living. Hiyas is the children's imprint of OMF Literature. It offers illustrated children's books on Christian values, health, and Bible stories, among others. For us to further help parents and teachers help kids deal with fear, we are giving a special 30% discount for I Am Scared and Be Brave. For 100 pesos, you can get each title at a discounted price of 70 pesos. The special discount is offered until November 15 only. Avail of this discount at OMF Lit Bookshop, shop.omflit.com, and at our Shopee and Lazada flagship stores. Don't forget to order your copies now. Okay, so let me introduce our featured books. I Am Scared, written by Irene Joi Irong and illustrated by Louis Buwan, is a picture book for beginning readers written in English. The book shows typical things and situations most children are scared of. It concludes with God as our protector and refuge. Be Brave, written by Dr. Joyce Piap-Go and illustrated by Maria Cristina Sison, is a book which helps young children learn how to be brave in different situations. This is the 10th book in the popular Dee the Bee series. Okay, so let's get on with our program. Don't forget to tag your parents, friends, and teachers in the comment section so that they can watch this helpful webinar. Allow me to introduce our first author. Dr. Joyce Piap-Go enjoys learning and helping others. She has a doctorate degree in counseling from the Asia Graduate School of Theology and a master's degree in biblical studies from Singapore Bible College. You can listen to Ate Joyce in the radio program Heartline, where she is a guest counselor on Thursdays. The program airs over DZAS 7:02 a.m. She's also a life coach, a counselor at Back to the Bible, and a popular resource speaker in schools, churches, companies, and webinars. So welcome, Ate Joyce.
Thank you very much, Justine, and thank you sa lahat ng listeners and viewers natin ngayon. Let me share my screen right now, and I hope that I am doing the right thing, Okay. Can you see my screen right now? Is everything okay? Yoshin, can you see my screen? Ways to help kids manage their fears. Can you hear me well? All right. So when we talk about ways to help kids manage their fears, we know that fear is a natural thing for children and even for adults. Kaya lang, wag natin sobraan ang mga fears. Dahil pag sinosobraan yung fears, nahihirapan ng bata and it might turn into other things like anxiety. So what are some of the ways that we can help the children? Number one is that you can monitor their media exposure, which means to say, watch out kung ano yung pinanood nila. Maybe it's a movie, video games, because all these things can really trigger fears. If they are watching horror movies palagi, then definitely at night they will think about these things as well, because there's such a rule as garbage in, garbage out. Kung anong napapasok sa utak natin, yun din ang lalabas, no? So I have a counselee when we explored about his fears, no? It's because he has been watching horror movies together with his mom and dad. At akala ng mama at saka papa niya, okay lang, kasama naman kami manood. Pero the child is taking in all those horror things that he has seen, no? Another thing is that teach them to say this is scary. I don't need to watch it. Because sometimes, kasama nila mga friends nila and they might be feeling pressured na pinanood naman ni kuya. Bakit matakot ako? Baka naman mamaya kakantsawin ako ng mga friends ko. But teach them that if it is scary for them, they are allowed to say, I don't need to watch it. No? Because each one of us is different when it comes to our fear level. Some other people, mas may tolerance sila manood ng mga ganitong bagay, pero ang iba naman hindi. So try to protect themselves by speaking it out. Another way is to help them learn to choose more relaxing and fear reducing shows. Which means to say, try to help them choose shows na mas magaan, mas kind, mas lovely and nice, wala yung mga violence, no? Wala yung mga patayan issues and all those things. So try to monitor their media exposure. And as a parent, alam ko busy tayo, but if we want them to be free from unnecessary fears, we have to do our part as well. Number 2 is that try to allow them to share their fears, no? Talking it out is definitely therapeutic. In other words, pag sinabi ng anak nyo, Mama, natakot ako, don't just dismiss it, no? But validate it by asking, saan ka natatakot? Anong bagay? Tell me more about it. Because by allowing them to share it, it will release them from those fears as well. And if you could catch their worries and their fears at an early age, that would be also good. In other words, no, takot pala sila sa spider, tapos kinakantsawan mo na, para yan lang, takot ka, then that probably will stop them from sharing it, no? And later on, this fear would become even greater. So at an early onset, you can definitely talk about it. And there are ways on how to minimize the fear. You can explain it to them na wala naman ikakatakot sa spiders na ito and allow them to look at a picture and then later on look at the real spider and allowing them to feel and see that wala naman magagawa ng spider sa kanila. So they need not be afraid, no? So the more exposures you allow them to see a spider at a very friendly environment and safe environment, then they will be able to face their fears as well. Another one is try to provide calm support, no? The key word here is calm. In other words, help your child to feel safe. Because sometimes, when your child doesn't feel safe, then they would be fearful. So, offer comforting words like, it's okay anak, it will be fine. Or you can tell them, you are safe, andito naman si mama. Or you can tell them, I'm just here. Kung takot ka man, just call mama. No? For example, merong thunder. For example, merong, what do you call this, a brown out, no? Or any other things, no? Or merong na big typhoon. So in other words, you can just tell them, it will just be okay. You are safe. Andito ka sa loob ng bahay, no? Andito lang si mommy, andito lang si papa. I'm just a phone call away. This will be what we call calming support, no? And we have to realize din that fears are usually caught by children or passed down. Which means to say, pag nakikita ang mga bata na takot ka, then they will be able to catch it as well. Dahil kung takot si nanay, takot si tatay, ang ibig sabihin nun, dapat matakot din ako. So, this can be passed down. So we have to try not to show it too much to them as well. So calmness can also be shared or passed down. It's the same thing as laughter and joy and happiness. They're contagious. Yung feelings mo na fearful can also be contagious as well. So try to keep your worries or pessimism in check. If there are things that you don't need to let them know, no, because dahil bata pa sila, you try to keep it among adults only. What are some of the things na you don't need to let them worry too much, no? Okay, maybe it's worrying about your job na mawalan ka ng trabaho. Maybe it's worrying about yung relatives nyo na natatamaan ng COVID-19. So you want to limit the information in giving or passing it down to them. So try to provide a calmer support at home. And mind you, pag palaging away ng away ang husband and wife, no, this will not provide a calm support to them. Dahil palagi nilang iisipin or matatakot sila, kailan na ba mag-divorce si papa at saka si mama? Kailan na ba bang walk out si mama? These kind of things. So let's provide them a calmer support by being more peaceful at home. Another way is to educate them, no? There are some fears na we cannot protect our kids from, kagaya ng COVID, sunog, earthquake. So anong pwede? Emergency preparedness is always good. Teach them, kung mangyari ito, saan ka pupunta. Kung mangyari ito, itong dapat gawin mo. So these are some of the things that we educate them ahead of time. Try to discuss these fears in a calm and matter-of-fact tone. Kagaya ng ganito, no? Anak, pag may sunog, itong gagawin natin. Anak, praktisan natin. Pag may magnanakaw pumasok sa bahay natin, ano bang dapat gawin natin? Hindi natin sasabihin in a way, hala ka, pag may sunog, hala, ganito ha, ganito. Mas lalo silang matatakot. So let's try to discuss this in a matter-of-fact tone. But it needs to be discussed. Realizing that there is a safety plan in place that the child practices and rehearses can definitely reduce that fear, no? Because education is one way of allowing them to not be afraid, to know what they can do and what are the things that are within their reach or within their control. Educate them. Number 5, naku, hindi talaga masama pag you buy this book na Be Brave, no? At saka yung book ni Ate Joy, no? I'm Scared. Because there are many ways, no, to help us. I like the book of Ate Joy, no? Sabi niya at the end, na we need to trust in our Lord God, no? So there are ways and practical ways on how to be brave. And so I hope you can grab the book, lalo na ngayon, it's on 30% off, no? So in this picture, you can see natatakot si Dee dahil nakikita niya na parang may monster sa loob ng kwarto niya. Pero if bubuksan naman pala niya ang nightlight niya, malalaman niya, ay ito lang pala ang shadow ng bear niya. So there are practical tips on how to help your child. Number 6 is say fear-reducing self-statements. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Try to practice saying positive phrases. Anong positive phrases naman ito? Ito ay, you can say and teach your children, I can do this. You can do that. You can handle this. No need to be afraid. Go. You can practice this. Try to say those empowering phrases for yourself. A Bible verse, that you can pass to your children is, we can do all this with God's help, because the Bible says we can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Napakahaba naman. So you can make it in a shorter form. I can do this with God's help, no? This will help them even though wala ka doon, no? The goal is for them to comfort themselves when they are feeling fearful. Kasi alam naman natin, wala naman tayo dyan 24/7 to comfort them. At wala naman tayo 24/7 na mababantayan natin sila. So they need to practice to take care of themselves, to shield and protect themselves from all these fears as well. So let's try to empower them and teach them these statements. And for all these statements, mommy and daddy and guardians, lola and lolo, practice makes perfect. Try to ask them, kung takot ka, anong sasabihin mo sa sarili mo? I can do this. Kung ganito ang situation, anong sasabihin mo sa sarili mo? I don't need to watch this fearful movie. So try to help them out. Number 7 is practice deep breathing. Tingnan mo itong batang ito. Bata pa nga siya. He's practicing deep breathing. Adults, if you don't know what is deep breathing, let's do it all together right now. Isali mo na yung mga anak mo dyan kung katabi mo sila. How do we do deep breathing? We breathe in through our nose, hold it for 4 counts, and then breathe out slowly through our mouth. Shall we do it all together? Breathe in through your nose. Hold it for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out slowly through your mouth. Can we do it again? One more time. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Breathe out through your mouth slowly. How do you feel? I hope you feel more relaxed. According to research, when you are fearful, your body will feel anxious, you will have shortness of breath. And by doing this deep breathing, you are sending a signal to your brain and telling your brain, brain, hindi naman ako takot oh, evidenced by my long breathing. And then your brain will send another signal to your body, hindi takot ang batang ito. Produce more happy hormones. And so, they will be more relaxed. So try to do deep breathing when they need it. Try to do deep breathing even when they don't need it, so that when they need it, eventually, they will know how to use it. It's the same thing as fire drill, earthquake drill. We need to do deep breathing as well. This is an emergency tool that we always try to teach our patients as well. Number 8, try to ask for power hugs because hugs are soothing and emotionally benefiting for children. Pag takot sila, try to hug them, try to bring them to your shoulder, give them a pat on their shoulder or their back. That will be very helpful as well. Teach them to say, Mama, I need a hug. Mama, I need a power hug. Ask them to ask from you, no? And it is best to ask it from you rather than to ask it from other people because you would be the one or the best one to give them the best comfort as well. And sometimes, the teenagers may not ask you for a hug. You can give them shoulder rubs because nahihiya na sila minsan. But definitely, they would need a hug or two if they are in fear. And of course, family hugs are always welcome. Try to practice it. Even though they feel shy, the more you practice it, the more they will be comfortable. The more they are comfortable, the more they will be more relaxed as well. Now, if you're wondering, malapit na ba tayo matapos? Yes, 2 more to go. Definitely pray. Whatever fear that you have, pray and commit it to the Lord. Whatever that they are experiencing or you are experiencing, commit it to God in prayer. Bakit? Because God can definitely help us. Bakit? Because God cares for us. Bakit kailangan natin i-pray? Because God has the ability to help us. God has the capacity to help us. And God is willing to help each one of us. So try to turn your fears into prayer. Try to commit all your worries and concerns to Him. Because our God is a loving God. Our God is always ready to help us. Our God is more than willing to help us. So commit it all to prayer. Last but not the least, if your fears are overwhelming already, try to seek some form of professional help. You can buzz me in my Facebook page, Messenger page, Dr. Joyce Piap-Go, and we can have a counseling session. And if you want to buy the books, you can also go to Dee the Bee book series Facebook page as well and order your book. But definitely you can buy your book at Shopee, Lazada through the OMF Lit Bookshop. So there is always hope. There is always help when it comes to our fears, no? So try to start it now by doing something, which is buying the book. And of course, it's a good thing that you are here with us because that means to say you care about your children and we also care about your children. And so let's try to help our children not to be scared by the book of Ate Joy. Be brave by the book of Joyce. Thank you po. God bless.
Okay. Thank you, Ate Joyce. That's such a wonderful presentation. Alam ko na marami ng nakuhang practical tips yung mga nanonood sa atin ngayon. Ako personally, talagang napaka-practical sa akin yung pag-deep breathing kapag natatakot ako or meron akong negative na emotion na nararamdaman. I find that it really helps calm me down. Okay. So, okay. Dahil alam ko na maraming mga tanong ang ating viewers, let's start with our discussion. But first, let me introduce our second author. Irene Joi Irong is a teacher and trainer by profession with 30 years of experience in Asia, the Middle East, and North America. She has written resource books for teachers in Canada and a devotional book for women in the Philippines. Ate Joy is also a Sunday school teacher, youth mentor, and worship leader. She has two very brave grown-up kids, Noreen and Nathan. Ate Joy is scared of cockroaches, lizards, and all creepy things. Check out her YouTube channel, Joyful Stories. Okay, so hello, Ate Joy.
Hi
Thank you
there.
for joining us here. Okay. Si Ate Joyce? Ate Joyce? Ayan,
Hi.
hello again, Ate Joyce. Ayan. So thank you again for joining us in this webinar. Be brave ni Ate Joyce and I am scared ni Ate Joy. Bagay na bagay, parang tandem talaga yung dalawang book, saktong-sakto. So, wow. Okay, so reminder to our viewers, if you have any questions or if you want to ask the authors anything, please type in your comments or your questions sa comment sections below so that we can ask our speakers. Okay, meron po akong natanggap na first question. Okay. Sabi po dito, my child says he sometimes sees monsters. Is this just his imagination? As a Christian, should I be more concerned? Sino po ang gustong sumagot na una?
I'll
Ate
give the
Joy?
chance to Ate Joy.
Ate Joy.
Okay. Well, araw-araw nakakita ko ng monsters sa salamin.
Go naman.
Okay.
A
Anyway,
beautiful one, huh?
a beautiful one. For me, it's normal because especially for when I was a kid, I keep imagining things, right? So that's para sa akin normal yan. But so we shouldn't laugh at fears, imagined or not. I would suggest to commit to prepare your child for bedtime. Kasi we're so busy, sinasabi na lang natin, matulog ka na. Actually, there should be preparation for bedtime, especially if your child is fearful, like maybe a warm bath or drink warm milk. Bedtime story is the best. There's a lot of books about nice monsters. So you can read about that. You can look under the bed. And I've seen some videos na pwede kang gumawa ng monster spray. Like, spray mo lang yan, mawawala ni monster, or a monster powder na pag-blow ka lang ng monster powder, mawawala na siya. Ganon, mga nightlight, keep the door open, soothing music. And of course, number one talaga is prayer. Psalm 23 verse 4 says na, I will fear no evil for you are with me. So that's a good time to remind our child. And syempre, parang preparasyon na rin yan sa future monsters sa buhay ng anak natin, di ba? So that's what I suggest. Being a mom of two kids, pero ngayon, mga adults na. So yeah, I'm proud to say na mas matapang pa sila sa akin.
Okay, thank you, Ate Joy. Ate Joyce, would you like to add something?
Well, Ate Joy said it all. But probably, siguro, I'll just add is that, our young children, especially ages 2 to 4, they use their imagination a lot, no? And it's part of their growth as well, whether it's a social, emotional, or language development, no? So you can definitely talk it out, no? And try to help them resolve kung ano ba yung totoo ba yun o hindi totoo. Maybe it's just yun na nga imagination lang. So as Ate Joy said, a nightlight will help. A check on the under the bed na wala namang monster, no? So hopefully it is to strengthen them that even though in their fears, no, there is God, an angel watching over them as well too. So imagination sometimes are just part of their growing up din.
Okay, thank you. Thank you po sa inyong mga sagot. Ito, may tanong dito. How do I best explain to our yaya not to scare my young children with ghosts? Nako, ano ito? Very common ito sa mga yaya. Sometimes she tells them, sige ka, pag di ka kumain, kukunin ka ng multo. Nako. Ano po ang pwede nating sabihin kay yaya para po ano po ito, matigil po ito, or what do we tell her?
Ate Joy?
Ate Joy?
I was raised by a yaya when I was young, and my kids were raised by yayas in Dubai. Maliliit pa sila. I think the best thing to do is to remind the yaya the job description, right? The job description is to take care of my child, not to scare my child, not to introduce unnecessary fears, di ba? Instead, introduce bravery, courage, joy, peace, inspiration. Mga magagandang virtues kasi, yayas are a very important part of middle to upper class families, mga kasamahan natin sa bahay. But unfortunately, a lot of them are untrained, di ba? We entrust to them our children when we go to work, pero we don't train them enough to be second parents to our children. So importante na they'll we we emphasize na kayo ang magiging nanay at tatay ng mga anak namin. So we don't want to scare our children. So kayo rin, huwag niyo rin gagawin yun sa mga anak namin. I remember my dad came home one day unannounced. Nakita niya kumakain ako ng tsinelas. 2 years old ako. Tapos yung yaya, kung ano-anong ginagawa. So my dad learned a big lesson at that time na, oh my gosh, I need to train this yaya. You can't just say na, bahala ka na magbantay ng mga bata. Hindi pwede yun. Tapos sisisihin mo, matatakutin ng anak mo, right? So I think it's our responsibility, not just parents, but also as employers, to train our yayas as second parents to our children. If you really care for your child, you have to spend time training your yaya.
Well said, no? Well said. In other words, a lot of times parenting is really caught rather than taught, no? And so with that said, most likely our yayas have learned it the way their parents raised them as well.
Right.
So when they were growing up, ganun din ang ginawa ng mga nanay at saka tatay nila or mga lolo nila, no? Na, sige ka, andyan na yung pulis. O sige ka, may multo ka. So that's how they were raised. So that's how they're going to teach our children as well too. So it's really very important to educate them, no? You can never go wrong in educating them. For all you know, that's the only thing they know how. So we will try to extend our love and our patience to them. And as Sister Joy said, if you really treat them and allow them to feel that they are the second parents, they would love your children to the max as well.
Right.
Wow. Napaka-practical ng mga sagot. Salamat po. Reminder to our viewers, if you have any questions, just type in the comment section and then we can read them and have our authors answer them. Okay, isa pa pong tanong. Ito. My children tease each other by scaring each other. Yung mga bata na nagtatakutan, yung mga usong-uso na paggabi, nagtatakutan. Is this wrong? Paano po natin i-adjust po ito pag yung mga bata na mismo yung nagtatakutan na kanya-kanya?
For me, Teasing is a part of being a family, di ba? Ah, nakakatuwa yan when you get old, naalala niyo yung teasing. But we need to draw the line at some point, di ba? Is it teasing or bullying, di ba? If it's causing emotional pain, ibang klase na yon. And sometimes I even see parents, tinatakot nila yung mga anak nila sa social media, and a lot of people find it funny, pero I don't. Kasi, ginagawa nilang katatawanan yung yung pagiging matatakotin ng mga anak nila. Parents need to prepare kids naman siyempre for the real world, emphasizing na the home is a safe place where no one will hurt them, di ba? Out in the real world na naman, kids will be pranked, teased, and harassed, right? So, pranks and jokes have their place, pero just make sure na walang emotional parang scar dun sa mga bata. I laugh with your kids, have a good time, invest in making memories that children will laugh about when they're older. Um, Kasi malalaman mo naman kung clean fun lang yung scaring each other or pranking each other. I remember one memory na hindi makalimutan ng daughter ko was, sabi niya, in-announce niya, I think she was 12 years old, sabi niya, "Mom, I'm gonna take a shower." Sabi niya ganon. Pero hindi pa siya pumasok sa banyo. Pumasok agad ako and nagtago ako dun sa shower curtain kasi tatakutin ko siya. And nung pumasok na siya, ang nangyari, I saw her hand gumanon, binuksan niya yung shower. Eh, nasa loob ako. So ako ang na-prank. So pagbukas niya, tawa siya ng tawa because epic fail yung ko, pagpa-prank sa kanya. And it just palagi niyang kinukuwento yon kahit kanino, ganyan. And I think that sometimes may mga clean fun naman sa mga families. Pero just make sure yung mga scaring or teasing hindi lalagpas dun sa boundary, yung wala lang below the belt na like I said, dapat hindi siya emotionally scarring. Yun lang ang ko. What about you, Dr. Joyce?
Oh, you said it very well. And you are right. A lot of YouTube right now is about pranking, right? And getting the numbers up, no? I'm also not a fan of it as well, too. Because paano na pagpa-prank mo, may nangyari sa kanya, we might regret it for life, right? And what if ma-traumatize siya? And then we're gonna take a lifetime to repair that trauma, even though it was just a joke, right? So it could lead to a lot of other bad things, no? So as a home, I like what Joy said, no? It should be a safe place for everyone. And we have to remember that everyone has a different level of fear tolerance as well, too. So it might be a joke to you, but it's no longer a joke to the other person. So we have to put that into consideration. So, mommies and daddies and even children, if you are here, kung ginagawa ito ng mga kapatid nyo and you feel that you don't like it, I hope that you will be able to have that courage to express it to kuya or to mommy and to daddy and saying na, alam mo, hindi ko gusto ito. Try to be able to express yourself and be heard by everyone that you don't like it.
Very well said. So clean fun is okay, pero do not cross the line to bullying and siguraduhin na walang may iwan na emotional scars sa ating mga anak. Okay, let's take a quick break before we continue with our Q&A. Let's listen to Louis Buwan, the illustrator of I Am Scared.
Magandang hapon. Ako si Louis, illustrator ng I Am Scared. Yung main character sa I Am Scared ay isang Palawan binturong. So, nag-research ako tungkol sa binturong. Ano ba yung mga physical characteristics nila, behaviors, pati na rin lifestyle nila. From there, nabuo yung character. Nabasa ko rin sa mga research na yung mga binturong smell like popcorn. Kaya makikita yon sa character design. Yung tip nung cap niya is actually a popcorn. Sa librong ito, kailangan kong mag-illustrate ng mga bagay na nakakatakot katulad ng worms, spiders, darkness. Pero, hindi sila dapat nakakatakot enough para matakot yung mga batang nagbabasa. Kumbaga, believable na nakakatakot yung mga bagay na yun para sa main character, pero hindi sila enough para mag-cause ng, nightmare para sa mga nagbabasa. Sa usual fears, gaya ng darkness, idea ng monsters, nakakagulat na mga tunog gaya ng kulog, yung takot sa mga yon ay normal response sa mga bagay na hindi nauunawaan. Kaya mahalaga na bigyan yung mga bata ng kaalaman na angkop sa antas ng kanilang pag-unawa. Mainam din na basahan sila ng mga kwento na tumatalakay sa ganitong emosyon. Makakatulong din ng malaki yung mga libro na may illustrations upang lubos nilang maunawaan yung konteksto ng kwento. At syempre, palagi magdasal. Maraming salamat. Magandang hapon ulit sa inyo lahat.
Okay, that was Louis Buwan's short explanation on his process ng pag-illustrate ng I Am Scared. Magandang marinig din yung naiisip nung illustrators kung habang ginagawa nila yung mga libro, no? Ang ganda nung nag-research siya about pinturong, and then yung fun facts about amoy popcorn sila, yung mga ganon. So it's interesting to hear those yung other side ng bukod sa pagsusulat, ano naman yung side ng pag-illustrate ng mga picture books. So thank you, Louis, for that. So balik na po tayo sa ating Q&A. Ito pong next na question natin is very timely dahil sa nagaganap na pandemic ngayon. How do I handle my children's fears about getting COVID-19? Lalo na ngayon na may mga nababalita na po na mga nagkakasakit na po ng mga bata dahil sa COVID. Ayun po. So paano po natin i-address ito? Paano po natin sila i-reassure?
Dr. Joyce?
Inunahan niya ako, Joshin.
Kayo naman din po.
All right. How do I handle my children's fears about getting COVID? A proper education will definitely be good, no? Pero bata pa sila masyado, they might not be able to capture everything in words. Meron naman tayong mga libro, no? If you don't have books, you can even go to World Health Organization. They also have short videos and even clippings, to teach our children how to face this COVID. If fear is something because of the unknown. Natatakot tayo dahil we don't know whether we will catch it or not. But if you teach the children to be prepared, like washing your hands, magmamas, magso-social distancing, then we can assure them that they would be safe, no? The things that they can control, we teach them how to do it. The things we cannot control, then we just have to surrender it to the Lord God. Pwede mo rin siyang sabihin, itong COVID is the same thing as, what do you call this? Sipon or regular na ubo. It's just that, of course, COVID is different. Pero, pag ginawa mo naman yung dapat mong gawin, matulog ng maaga, kumain ng mga healthy food, no? Maliligo, maghuhugas ng kamay, ikaw rin ay maproprotektahan. So, no need to be afraid. Another way of shielding them of these too much fears is wag natin palaging sasabihin sa kanila, ay, namatay na si sino? Hala ka, namatay na naman si itong ganito. Oh, 5,000 people na. So the more things we talk about those, the more they would be fearful because garbage in, garbage out as well. So we try to give the necessary things for them. All the other things, we don't have to give the very details to them. O ikaw, Sis Joy.
Ate Joy.
I agree. I think there are two things you need to maintain. Maintain normal routine sa bahay. Just act normally. Yes, there's COVID out there, pero you don't want it to be the focus ng bahay nyo. na sobrang praning ka na, umuhugas ka ng kamay, masyado ka lang praning. So just make it normal na actually hand washing it's supposed to be normal, di ba? Pero di ba, parang ngayon lang kasi masyado na emphasize, but that should be a daily routine ng mga bata, right? So that it's normal, it shouldn't be overemphasized na parang nag-aano na yung bata na parang ba't ganito mommy ko or daddy ko. Sobrang ano na parang traumatic sa kanila or whatever. So just make it normal, stay busy with the kids. Another thing that you need to maintain is your own emotional regulation, like what Dr. Joyce said. Children learn emotional regulation from watching us. Whatever we exhibit as our emotions towards COVID, ganun din ang mangyayari sa mga bata. And I do have a YouTube channel. There are a lot of books there na ni-read aloud ko that are from World Health Organization and all the other authors. I gave honor to them by reading aloud their books. So you can also go to my YouTube channel, Joyful Stories, Joiful Stories, and then you can just click it and then you can watch it with your child, and that would be a good education for them to know more about COVID. So yun ang ano, yun naman ang suggestion ko. And maganda yung role play. Anong gagawin mo? Kunwari, dumi kamay mo, ganito. I love role play. I always did that when my kids were younger. You role play, kunwari, may ubo ka, anong gagawin mo, how to put the mask, what if someone is sick, what would you say, mga ganyan-ganyan. So I think role play should be practiced at home para alam ng bata mag-respond when that situation comes.
Meron po akong follow-up na may kukonekta akong tanong dito. And I think na-discuss na rin ito ni Ate Joyce kanina during her talk, but in a more general sense. So, okay lang po ba? Is it okay for parents to show children that we get scared? Or not even just parents, adults. Okay lang po ba sa adults na ipakita sa mga bata na natatakot tayo? Not just of COVID, but of other things. Ayun. Baka may gusto pa po kayong idagdag dun sa discussion na yon.
Ate Joy, inunahan na kita.
Okay. Of course naman, parents are human too, di ba? We are not invincible. When our kids see that we get scared too, our kids will be more open to being honest in expressing themselves, right? But God doesn't want us to be always fearful, di ba? He has equipped us through His Word and by the Holy Spirit with parenting instructions that would stand the test of time. He wants us to put our trust in Him. And when we do, we will bear good fruit like joy and peace and all the other fruits of the Spirit. Um, knowing who God truly is will combat fear, anxiety, and worry in our heart. Ako takot ako sa roller coaster talaga eh.
Ako din.
Kahit yung pang 3 years old, kahit lapas na ako sa height, and when I ride that, talagang akala ko, Lord, kukunin mo na ba ako? Ganun ako lagi pag sumasakay ng roller coaster. And my kids do that since they're young. So alam nila na pag pupunta kami sa Disneyland or Canada's Wonderland or whatever na amusement park, they know na magla-laptop lang ako. Magsusulat na lang ako. And then sila na mismo ang sumasakay doon. They accepted it. They didn't make fun of me. Pero alam nila na, kasi nakita na nila yung itsura ko, pa natatakot talaga ako sa roller coaster. So, I think magandang nakikita ng mga bata yun na you're not perfect, you're not invincible, na makaka-relate sila when they have their own fears and they will share their own. Mami, ako din, takot din ako sa ganyan, ganyan. So you have like a conversation na ganon. It doesn't mean naman na you don't have trust in God. It's just that you're wired na na talagang nasusuka ka ng roller coaster, right? So ganon talaga. It's just a part of who you are. Yeah, so I do admit na may mga fears ako. Kaya nga nasulat ko yung libro kasi ang dami-dami kong fears. And I hope that makatulong din yan sa mga bata. Dr.
I,
Joyce?
all right. I like what you said, no? The transparency and everything. You just have to be cautious and be aware of your own emotions. If you feel kasi that you're overwhelmed, it's really okay to seek some form of help, no? Again, fear is a natural thing, and indeed the Lord knows that we are fearful beings, no? That's why in the Bible it had been mentioned 365 ways. Do not fear, do not worry, no? Enough for each day to remind us that we really don't need to worry and be afraid of anything, because God is our refuge and God is really our strength, no? So with all these fears, we can commit it to the Lord, but remember, you need to regulate your own emotion as well, because your emotions could be copied by your children. Again, everything that is balanced is always good. Overwhelming or excessive fears is definitely not welcome by anyone. So if you do have excessive fears or anything, you need some form of counseling. Feel free to call or to message me at the Facebook page of Dr. Joyce Piap-Go. The secret here is the sooner you address it, the better it will become. Kumbaga pa, huwag dumating sa amin na sobra ng malala, no? Try to catch it on as early as possible.
Okay, thank you for that. Again, a reminder to our viewers, if you have questions, type it in our comments box, okay, so that we can read it. Ito, meron po tayong isang question from one of our viewers. Our 9-year-old gets anxious and worried whenever my husband and I go out. In the past, he didn't mind even when we went to work for the whole day. We wondered if it's because many classic children's stories and movies show child characters who lost their parents. Should we avoid such stories? What do
Okay.
you think po?
All right. Instead of assuming that it is because of that, it would be best to really ask the child, no? Because as a 9-year-old, he can already express, no? Babae ba ito, lalaki? He can already express na kung ano yung dahilan, no? Who knows? Malay mo, when dad and mom are away, the kuya bullied the child. So ayaw niya. Or who knows, when mom and dad are away, inaapi siya ng yaya. Hopefully not naman. That's why he doesn't want the parents to be away. So there must be a reason. So you can just hear your child out. What is the fear? Why why he is afraid? And from there on, then you address kung how we are going to go about it, rather than just assuming that it came from the classic story. That would be my take. How about you,
Ate
Ate Joy?
Joy?
Yeah, when my kids were young, and whenever we left the house, no, we always tell them you can call us anytime, anytime. And of course, 911 naman sa Canada. Pero meron akong in-introduce na na secret word. So we have to have a secret word. And when you say it on the phone, you don't have to say anything more. We're gonna come right away. Okay? Kasi hindi sa kasi wala nang, like for example, an extreme, extenuating circumstances, hindi pwede magsalita ng maraming bata. Just say that word and then and then we will come right away. For example, ang word is boat or whatever na or ship or teddy bear. Kahit anong word. When they say that, secret word yon na darating na kami. Para hindi matakot yung bata. And you know what my son said? yung young son ko, I got the word. I have a word, Mom. It's really, really a great word. Sabi ko, okay, ano yung word, anak? Sabi ko. Sabi niya, supercalifragilistic. Sabi ko,
Medyo mahaba.
hindi ka na pagdating ko. Sabi ko, sa kahabaan ng word mo. So, you have to think of another word. Sabi ko, but I like that word. Sabi ko, okay. Anyway, that I remember that. That's so funny. But yeah, so that was his word when he was young. Supercalifragilistic. Haba-haba. So yun. So I think there should be a safe word. All parents should have that.
I think
Kasi,
I love that.
yeah,
That's
kasi
a
parang hindi
beautiful
na
one.
mag-explain yung bata. Kasi meron tao dito sa likod, hindi na mag-explain. Isang word lang. Kahit ano pa yon darating kami. Ganun. Kaya assurance yung bata na darating mommy at daddy ko. Yun.
That's a wow, gandang ano yun, magandang tip yun. Pag supercalifragilistic, parang supercali pala tumatakbo na kayo pa uwi. Kasi mahaba.
Ay,
Pero
True.
nako.
magandang tip yun for parents and guardians to follow. Secret word for your kids. Okay. Okay, so any more
Alam
questions?
mo, Joy, naisip ko, dapat meron ding secret word for husband and wife, no? Secret word para to tell them that we will stop fighting, or secret word, you have to come home quickly, or secret
Ano,
word. That's nice. Lahat may
yeah.
secret word na tayo.
Oo,
That's
tsaka may
good.
secret word din kung ano, gusto niya nang umuwi, pero ayaw niyang pahalata, nasa party kayo. May secret word
Correct.
din. Sabi yung
Tama.
parot. Sabi, uwi na tayo.
You have to find a way lang to insert that into conversation. Parang,
Diba?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
O
masarap ang
kaya kung
carrot
nga rin
topping na ito.
naiya kayo mag I love you, you just say that word. Kung nga rin sabihin mo mustard, ibig sabihin I love you yun. Naiya kayo mag I love you sa public. So it's just between you. Ano, maganda yung mga secret word.
That's
Wag lang
cute.
mag-mix up yung secret words
Ah,
nila, right?
Oo.
iba pala yung ibig sabihin. So, sa ibang lugar sila pumunta. Parang, oh no. Okay. Ito po, meron pa tayong another question from our viewers. Hello po. How can we help a child process his or her emotion when her immediate family died?
Ate Joy,
Dr. Joyce.
inunahan ko siya, Ate Joy.
Ayan,
Um,
naka-spotlight na si Ate Joy eh.
Actually, hindi ko to forte because ang tagal ko mag-grieve. And I don't know, like my dad passed away 24 years ago, and I talk about him like he just passed away yesterday. Ganun ako eh. It's something that I'm not good in handling,
Okay.
grief.
Alright.
Pero I would advise siguro na always talk. Honor that person who died with, you talk about that person. Ano mo si daddy ganito? Nalala mo si mommy ganyan. It helps bring memories alive. Because that helps. Kasi pag tinatago mo lang, masakit yun. You're just
Correct.
withdrawing. Pero syempre, sabi nga ng Bible, there's a time to grieve, right? So take time to grieve. Please, take your sweet time to grieve kasi hindi mo pwedeng madaliin yun. Hindi
Correct.
pwede. Sometimes it's long process. Sometimes yung iba okay lang sa kanila, pero still take time to grieve. Yun lang ang ano ko na with your child, samahan mo siya sa pag-grieve.
For myself, I conducted a seminar on mourning as well too. Lalo na there's a lot of people who are passing away lately, right? So for children, there are some ways that you can help them. Of course, number one, yung kanina sabi ni Ate Joy, you need to talk about the good memories. What did you remember about Lolo? What was the fondest memory that you have with Lolo? So those are the things that would be helping the children. Kumbaga, nagbibigay sila ng eulogy in a different form of way, no? Probably one of the things that you don't want to say is that God took your lolo away. Some other children will take it as, bakit kinuha ni God si lolo? Hindi ba love ni God si lolo? Eh kung kinuha ni God si lolo, baka mamaya kukunin na naman si God si daddy o si mommy. So you can just use the verse as Ate Joy had mentioned. There's a time to be born and a time to ano na no, the end of our life, right? So that's part of the cycle of life, no? So you can also explain that one, but allow the children to grieve as well. Some children would cry, some children would not cry. So children who cry doesn't mean to say they are the ones closer to lolo or lola, no? Because some children just don't show it out through their tears, but they are also grieving as well too. So you try to watch out for those who are crying and even for children who are not crying as well. And you can definitely let them know that you are there if they feel they wanted to talk to you, if they feel that they miss their lolo and lola, you can also ask them to come to you as well. But definitely crying is therapeutic for everyone else. No? So it takes time. Everyone is different. There's no prescribed time for grieving, though research have said it's between 6 months to 2 years, but everyone is really different.
So, importante po talaga yung to to grieve, yung mailabas
Mm.
natin yung nararamdaman. Okay. We have another question. Being mostly home due to lockdowns, my 4-year-old daughter is afraid to go or travel far away from home. What can we do to help her on this? Na nilang limang pa.
I can't blame her. Ganyan na ganyan ako. When I went out to get my vaccine, para akong, oh my gosh, para akong hindi taga-planetang Earth. Kasi nga, I rarely went out. I still don't go out a lot. So it's a valid response from children. Kung adults nga, di ba? So, para sa akin siguro, wag biglain ang bata. Siguro maybe you can go to the yard muna or sa entrance ng bahay. Yung ano lang, unti-unti, wag yung punta tayo sa Cubao, hindi gano'n. Punta Tagaytay. Gugulat 'yon kasi nga been home all day, right? Or all year for some of them. So, yeah, dahan-dahan, day by day, unti-untiin hanggang mag-tricycle tayo sa palengke, ganun lang muna, ganun lang, malapit lang. And then finally, you can probably go out farther. Kasi traumatic talaga yon. Kasi I relate to that. It felt so weird. Para siyang culture shock when I went out for my vaccine. Parang ayoko makakita ng tao kasi puro ano ka lang pabahay ka lang. So it's normal ngayong COVID na ganun ang reaction mo. So dapat hindi natin um, wag nating i-disregard 'yon kung nakikita natin yung bata na ganun.
Yeah. Whether she is 4 years old or 40 years old,
Right.
emotions are emotions and fears are real. So we have to look at it as a real fear. No, it could be that the 4-year-old might have heard a lot of stories that people who go out got COVID. No, so that must be one of the reasons why she's afraid. So you have to check whether is it a what do you call it, excessive fear or not. But again, if it is an excessive fear, you can start slowly integrating, as what Ate Joy have mentioned, no? Slowly but surely. And you can also explain it to her na this one is safe, up to this playground natin, safe ito, hanggang sa garden natin pa naman ito, you're still in the bubble, you're still safe, and then you start from there and move out as well too. But you want to assess it whether it's too much or it's not, whether it's within the realm of fear pa rin, or is it excessive fear that needs to be addressed already.
Okay, thank you po. For our last question, siguro po medyo may connection din ito dun sa last na tanong. Are phobias natural for children? How do I know if my child's fears are normal or when they are alarming already? So,
Ate Joy,
nakaka-phobia ba ang mga bata?
baka may libro ka na naman yan. Or YouTube.
Meron.
Tama, sabi ko lang nga sa iyo eh. Yes.
Yeah, phobias are real, di ba? Yeah, I have fear of heights. I don't know. I tried to face my fear. I tried climbing mountains, bridges. Wala pa rin. I can't even drive across a bridge. My kids know that. So whenever malapit na yung bridge, umaalis ako sa driver's seat, yung son ko or yung daughter ko magda-drive. Kasi hindi talaga ako makadrive over the bridge. Kasi kung nakikita ko yung water, parang nalihilo ako or nasusuka ako. So phobias are real. So it's important na i-recognize natin yon. But only after siguro you need to see a doctor to just confirm na phobia nga yun or baka naman psychological lang siya. Kasi may mga allergy or phobia tests naman, di ba? So yeah, so I think we need to look into that. And then once confirmed, then we can ask professional help from the doctor or psychologist or psychiatrist, and then help your child manage, not solve, but
Correct.
manage the phobia or
Very
manage
good.
the fear. Yeah. Hindi naman natin ito target na mawala ang phobia. Hindi naman ganon. Ima-manage yun very well kasi minsan hindi naman natatanggal yung phobia. So, para sa akin ganon. And of course, and trust that the Lord will help you through that fear whenever it comes. Uh, like I said, when I see heights, I pray. I pray like it's my last day talaga. Sabi ko, Lord, help me deal with this. Hindi ko to kaya, hindi ko to kaya. And it's good. Kasi pang mga ganong moments, lalo ko nagre-rely kay Lord, di ba? So, grab that opportunity to pray and rely on God more. Yun lang sa akin.
Kaya
Okay.
pala nagsulat si Ate Joy ng I'm scared. Talagang
Yeah.
marami siyang items na scared siya, right? Okay. Tama naman yung sabi niya, no? It's really true. And yeah, you are right. You need to manage it. It's really not a switch of on and off that you want to
Right.
off it. It cannot be, It's a volume dial. Sometimes the fear and the phobias are louder and you just have to manage it softer. So it's really about managing your fears, no? Fear is a thought process that will trigger our fight and flight response when there is a stress, no? So fear is itself imagined, but yet it could lead to yun na nga, the psychological effect and other things, no? So as long as we're able to manage it, we're okay. So as a mom and a dad, you try to check it out, no? Hindi naman pwede yung fear palagi sa level 10, no? It should sometimes be level 3 or level 4 or level 5, no? Kasi kung wala siyang level 3, 4, 5, palaging 10, 10, 10, then it's not very healthy. But fear is needed as well too. For example, nasunog na yung kapitbahay mo. Wala ka pa rin fear. Ay, may problema ka na naman, no? Dapat may fear na. So that fear is good as long as it's managed and as long as it's not excessive. Yun
Yeah,
lang.
and I'd also like to add to that. Talk to your parents, talk to your family members, because I remember this is real. I had a phobia of someone opening the ano the what do you call that, the hood of the car.
Ah,
For some
okay.
reason, for years and years, I've
Mm.
always wondered, bakit takot ako every time someone opens that hood? Kahit sino, whenever I'm walking or whatever. And then finally, I told my mom, sabi ko, Ma, bakit ako takot pag may nagbubukas
Nag-hood.
ng hood? And then she was shocked. Sabi niya, oh my goodness, you were like 18 months old when your dad opened the hood of the car at nagkaroon ng fire dun sa hood ng car.
Oh.
Parang sumabog sa mukha ng father ko. Pero hindi naman siya na ano. Pero my mom was carrying me. 18 months ha. And
Mm.
I don't know how it just got stuck in my mind at nagkaroon ako ng phobia. And when she explained that to me, na-realize ko na, ganun pala. And then for some reason, na-lessen yung na-lessen yung fear
Fear.
ko every time someone opened the hood of the car. So siguro maganda rin na ikwento niyo rin sa family members and find out bakit, ano yung source nun. Sometimes
Very good, Joy.
minsan may source yun, di ba?
Right,
Mm.
and that is what we call processing.
Yeah.
You are processing where it's coming from. And it's really by processing that you will be able to understand yourself and address the fear better. That's good, Joy. Good
Okay.
for you.
Wow, so thank you so much, Ate Joyce and Ate Joy. Napakaganda ng talakayan natin today. I'm sure na maraming natutunan yung viewers natin, yung parents and teachers. It really helped them understand and help children face their fears and maybe their own fears as well. Kasi kahit naman adults, for sure marami pa rin tayong mga kinakatakutan eh. Okay. So before we close, do you have any final words of encouragement for our viewers? Sino po ang gustong magsimula?
I can start. Just
Okay.
want to encourage everyone to keep trusting the Lord and that He's always with us. It's what I said in the last page of my book. And Philippians 4:6, syempre, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. That is not just a verse that you just say, but that is a verse that you na dapat lifestyle natin daily. So, yun lang ang aking ano. And of course, please support authors like me and Dr. Joyce uh, and buy the books that we wrote for to address the feeling of fear. And God bless you.
Thank you, Ate Joy. Ate Joyce?
Ako naman, be brave and be courageous. For the Lord God is your refuge and your strength. So, yun lang.
Okay, thank you. Again, thank you so much, Ate Joyce and Ate Joy, for joining us this afternoon. And I hope our viewers, marami po talaga kayong natutunan and you were blessed with our discussion. Okay, reminders. As part of this webinar, we are giving out a special 30% discount for I Am Scared and Be Brave. From 100 pesos, you can get each book at a discounted price of only 70 pesos. This special discount runs up to November 15. Avail of this discount at OMF Lit Bookshop, shop.omflit.com, and at our Shopee and Lazada flagship stores. So don't forget to get your copies today. Final announcements? New book alert! Pastor Marty Ocaya's new book, Pray Bold Prayers, is now available for only 275 pesos. With endorsements from Pastor Peter Tanchi, Bishop Noel Pantoja, and Sean McDowell, you can learn how to pray and develop a deeper intimacy with God through this book. Get your copies at our online store, shop.omflit.com, Shopee, Lazada, and of course, OMF Lit bookshops nationwide. That's all for now, dear friends. Thank you so much for spending this afternoon with us. Read a good book with your child, and God bless us all.